Love lives here.
All right, fantastic. So here at Centers for Spiritual Living Worldwide, we have been working with a theme this year of living everyday wonder. And this month, we are looking at living everyday wonder through our physical bodies and through this body. Because what we know is that the entire universe is the manifest body of the divine, is the manifest body of the one. And if there is only one life and only one intelligence and only one power and only one presence, then all of life has to be an emanation, impartation, manifestation of this one life. Therefore, your body temple, as we talked about last week, is the body of the divine. Woohoo! Right? Right where you are, Spirit is. Spirit is the indwelling presence within each one of you, within each one of us, and therefore, our body itself is this divine manifestation of perfection, just as it is right now in this moment. Not as it is going to be 10 pounds lighter, or when we finally get off the high blood pressure med, or whatever else it is. Right this very moment, your body, in all its gloriousness, is absolutely whole, perfect, and complete. Yes? Yes. All right, let's go have cookies. I don't need to convince you, so there we go. All right. Spirit created all these different varieties of flowers, all these different varieties of trees, all these different varieties of plants, and all these different varieties of bodies. We wouldn't tell a rose and shame a rose to say, you really should look more like a sunflower, because sunflowers are brighter, they move with the sun, and you're a rose, and you just kind of sit there and you smell pretty, but you've got a lot of prickly thorns, and And you wouldn't tell an oak tree that it needs to be more like a willow. And you wouldn't say, okay, lily of the valley, you really should behave and look a lot more like a fern, right? So why in the world, beloveds, do we do this with ourselves? Why do we, or you, or us, why do we have this idealized, societally idealized what a body should look like, and then we try and compare ourselves to this ideal body? That's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, would you really want only roses or only sunflowers? No. And even if we only had roses or sunflowers, guess what? Each one is unique and different. It doesn't necessarily have the same amount of petals. It doesn't necessarily have the same pigmentation. It doesn't necessarily behave or look or move in the same exact way. The leaves may be slightly different shaped, right? The stalk might be different. The number of thorns might be different, right? So even with an individual rose or an individual sunflower, there's variations amongst all of them, because there is this beauty in the diversity, and yet there continues to be a unity in the diversity, because all of it is an expression and beauty of life itself. But we get caught in our societal thinking, don't we? It's like, oh, this is the standard of beauty. Oh, I need to weigh less than what I weigh. Or I should be taller, or I should be shorter, or I should be heavier, I should be skinnier, I should be this, or I should be that. We have this tendency to look at our bodies and think of our bodies as less than. We don't stand in the mirror usually. We don't usually stand in the mirror and go like, you look divine. We stand in the mirror and go, your eyes are a little offset. Your hair is getting a little grayer. There's a few more wrinkles this morning. There's a few more spots this morning. There's a paunch around the middle this morning. Right? I'm feeling a little bloated, right? We have a tendency to go in this direction. We have a tendency to pick ourselves apart, wanting to be different than how we actually are, based on some crazy idea that we saw in a magazine somewhere, or some crazy idea of what beauty should be or what a healthy body should look like. Like, I will never look like the cover of Men's Magazine. Never. It's not gonna happen. I don't like the gym that much. So I own it, right? I own it. I look at the gray and it's like, wisdom tinsel. Look at a few extra lines and go, experience. Feeling a little bloated, it's like, that dinner last night was really good. Because when we shift from the negativity, because what we have a tendency to do is we have a tendency to go hard on ourselves with the negativity. We have a tendency to go right into that. I'm fat, and we affirm it. I'm fat. I'm ugly. My eyes are goofy. Whatever. We have a tendency to affirm the negativity. And so if we're affirming the negativity, what's happening? What do we know happens with creativity, with the creative process? If we keep affirming the negativity, what do we experience? The negativity, right? We keep reaffirming, it's like, oh, bad, and then how do you really feel about yourself? Oh, I feel terrible. Okay, so now I'm like feeding myself that I'm fat, and I feed myself that I'm terrible, or I'm not feeling, like I'm awful, I'm less than, and this is what I then become to believe. Well, then I might as well just go and eat another cookie. Because what's the point, right? And it becomes this cycle, right? This negative mindset becomes the cycle, becomes the downward spiral, yeah? And it's not just societal pressures. Sometimes we look at our bodies and because of past traumas, maybe we're ashamed of our bodies. Because of physical trauma or mental trauma or psychological trauma, sexual trauma, that we see our bodies in a negative light and we are ashamed of our bodies. Or sometimes because of a chronic illness or some sort of dysfunction in the body, that we feel that our bodies have somehow betrayed us. I used to be able to dance 3 hours and now I can't, and right? So our relationship as a collective tends to, not always, but tends to view our bodies as our adversaries rather than as our friends. Have you experienced that? It's like, yeah. No, this needs to work better. This needs to be different. I need to change this right now. And our bodies somehow feel like they are our adversaries rather than our friends. So when we get into this cycle, we come into perhaps this tradition and this way of thinking where we know we need to change how we're thinking about things. And so we come up with this axiom that says, you are not your body. You have a body, but you are not your body. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound true?
Yes and no.
I'm seeing no, and I'm seeing yeses, and then I'm hearing yes and no, right? So you have a body, you are not your body, but you have a body. Yes and, no and. Because if God is all there is, the spirit is all there is, then the physical body has to be the physical body of the divine. It too has to be divine. And we are a whole, complete, integral system. We are not separate from our body, and our bodies are not separate from us. Because when we say that you have a body, but you're not your body, or you're not, then there still is that degree of separation. You see how that's working there? There's still that degree of separation. It's like, oh, well, now this body is just a flesh suit that holds my consciousness and allows my consciousness to walk from room to room to room. And that somehow I'm separate from this physical body, but yet this is where I reside. This is the body temple. So the body, the physical body itself, and the spiritual body are one whole system. So rather than saying and separating out our bodies from our being, we have the opportunity to embrace the body and embrace the being as a whole, as a totality. And so then we have the ability to then start loving our bodies just as they are. Looking in the mirror and saying, ooh, you do look divine. Ooh, you're cute. Ooh, I like your hair this morning. Because when we love our bodies, and we start with positive affirmations, and we start that direction with our bodies, then our beliefs start shifting, our ideas start shifting, our minds start shifting, and then what happens in our physical bodies? We begin to experience greater health. We begin to experience a greater overall health because, one, our mental health is getting better because we're affirming something positive, and then our body responds to that positive affirmation, that positive reinforcement. All bodies, your body, just as it is right now, is deserving of love, care, respect, and reverence. Your body has 62,000 miles of blood vessels. 62,000 miles. That circles the globe 2.5 times at the equator. That's how many blood vessels you have in your body. 4 of us would be able to reach the moon. That's how many blood vessels we have in our bodies. Isn't that amazing? You have over 37 trillion, with a T, trillion cells in your body that are constantly doing what they do, maintaining and sustaining and being maintained and sustained and dividing. And mitochondria are processing ATP and converting food to energy. Your body does all of this all on its own. Your liver has over 500 functions alone. Your liver. 500 functions, vital functions that keep you alive every single day. The brain floats in this beautiful liquid body between your ears and your head. Your heart has this electromagnetic currency that beats of its own accord. We breathe, and we are being breathed. We are being maintained and sustained by the beloved. We are being maintained and sustained by the divine. And we don't have to take thought for any of it. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that beautiful? I mean, when you think about that, the amount of synapses, neural synapses and muscular neural synapses to pick up a cup of coffee and sip it and drink it, and then it goes down, and then the whole digestive peristalsis system starts working all on its own, and muscle. It's mind-boggling how something so beautiful is here, and we get to inhabit it, and we get to experience it, and we get to experience this physical plane through this beautiful vehicle. Spirit gets to experience itself. Spirit having a spiritual experience in human form. And we get to co-create, and we get to come alongside, and we get to appreciate and love it up. You normally wouldn't tell your friend, oh, you look fat today. Definitely wouldn't tell your spouse if you want to live to see the next minute. So why do that to ourselves? If we shift our thinking and shift the way we think about it to loving ourselves, to appreciating ourselves. So last week I invited you to just during the week, as it came to you, just focus on a body part and see what you sensed in that body part, see what you felt in that body part. So, focusing on your left earlobe. getting into your physical body, because as I mentioned last week, we have a tendency to want to live here in our heads and not necessarily in our physical body and not really inhabit our physical body. So I invited you to begin to inhabit the physical body last week. Your body is completely and totally yours, and it's intimately yours. It's nobody else's, it's yours. So if we go in and we listen and we pay attention and we begin to develop more of a relationship, a loving relationship with our body, what I invite you to do is, rather than saying, the arm hurts, or the face is whatever, that own your body. It's yours. My face, my arm. And then if my arm is hurting, it's like, he's hurting today. Rather than the arm or it. Because if we shift the languaging to he, she, or they, depending on how we identify, if we shift the languaging to our body parts of, my knee, he's feeling a little stiff today. You see how that kind of begins to shift the relationship with your knee? It's my and he rather than my or it, right? Or that, which continues to cause that separation. Where I do invite separation, where I do invite you to step back from ownership, is stepping back from the ownership of dis-ease or dysfunction, right? You hear people all the time, oh yeah, my lupus is flaring. My lupus, owning that, making it mine. Or another way that we own our dysfunction or our dis-ease is, I have lupus, right? It's another way of saying that. And that's owning it too. I have a friend who did this, and she had lupus. She experienced lupus. She had initially started saying, when she first arrived at Centers for Spiritual Living, my lupus is flaring. And then she began shifting her language to, I have lupus. And so flares weren't as great. And then the more she stuck around, she's like, I was diagnosed with lupus. And see how that created some separation. And now she's like, I don't even remember the last time I experienced a flare of lupus. Because of the way she separated herself from the diagnosis, separated herself from that dysfunction, and continuing to do all of the other work that we talk about of the positive affirmations, the positive speech, the positive ideas, the positive thoughts, and the shifting the belief. This is the mind-body connection that we talk about. This is the mind cure that we talk about, that where Centers for Spiritual Living got its start was in the mind cure movement of using your thoughts, using your beliefs, and shifting and curing or healing that which ailed. So rather than our bodies becoming our adversaries, our bodies can be our friends. Yes? So one of the ways that I like to practice this, and I've practiced it for years, and it's a spiritual practice and it is a physical practice, you stand in the mirror. You don't have to stand in the mirror naked yet, but you stand in front of the mirror. And you look at the mirror and you begin with appreciation, thanksgiving, gratitude. I'm thankful for my hair. I love my hair. I'm thankful for my eyebrows. I love my eyebrows. I'm thankful for my eyes. Oh, I love my eyes. I'm thankful for my nose. I love my nose. Thankful for my lips. I love my lips. Thankful for my teeth and my tongue. I love my teeth and tongue. Thankful for my ears. I love my ears. Thankful for my neck. I love my neck. And you work through your body, looking in the mirror and bringing your eyes to the body part so that you're seeing the body part. You're seeing the body. And then once you finally get to, the little toenail, right? Then you can also begin to dive within. Oh, I'm thankful for my lungs. I'm thankful for my blood. I'm thankful for my heart. And you go within all your internal organs. Do your muscles, do your connective tissue. Whatever anatomy you know, be appreciative of it. Give thanks for it. And love it. Share the love of it. Ernest Holmes says this: the body is the house in which, for the present, you are living, and you need to keep it in good repair by a right mental attitude toward it, a right mental attitude toward experiences, and a right mental attitude toward people. Your body is entitled to your respect. So, looking in the mirror, showing your body respect. Of course, we're going to take good care of ourselves, try to keep ourselves in good repair, but we're not doing it because of society telling us that we have to do it this, or we have to look this way, or we have to be that way. We do it because, this is the body temple. This is the temple of the divine. I want to inhabit this fully and completely to the best ability that I can. It's a very different mindset. So there's this great poem here, too, that I want to share with you. It's by Holly Holden. And it's about asking our body what it is that we need to experience and listening to our body and loving our body. And so here she writes, today I asked my body what she needed. Today I asked my body what she needed, which is a big deal considering my journey of not really asking that much. I thought she might need some more water or protein or greens or yoga or supplements or movement. But as I stood in the shower, reflecting on her stretch marks, her roundness where I would like flatness, her softness where I would like firmness, all of those conditioned wishes that form a bundle of not quite rightness, she whispered very gently, could you just love me like this? Could you just love me like this? So, beloveds, repeat after me. From my fingers to my toes,
From my fingers to my toes,
to the smile on my lips,
to the smile on my lips,
from my belly to my booty,
from my belly to my booty,
to the curve of my hips.
to the curve of my hips.
I'm beautiful.
I'm beautiful.
I'm beautiful.
I'm beautiful.
From my fingers to my toes,
From my fingers to my toes,
to the smile on my lips,
to the smile on my lips,
from my belly to my booty,
from my belly to my booty,
to the curve of my hips.
to the curve of my hips.
I'm beautiful.
I'm beautiful.
Yes. All right. There you go. And snaps from Greg. All right. So I invite our practitioners to stand and circle the sanctuary, and let's come together in consciousness. I also invite our core council to please stand and surround the sanctuary as well. And Tamara, yes, please join us. All right. Woohoo. These beloveds are in service to this beloved community, Riverside Center for Spiritual Living, lifting this community in prayer every single day, and they are available to you always for prayer. And they are available immediately following service for prayer in the prayer room, as well as Dinah and Constance will be there for prayer for you. All right, so let's just come together in consciousness, recognizing right here and right now that there is just this one beautiful power and presence, this one beauty, this one magnificence, this one gloriousness that is forever expressing itself through itself, as itself, through its creation, but yet it is never absorbed by its creation. It is creation, and it is so much more. It is the body, and it is so much more. And in this moment, I recognize that the very who of who I am is the divine made manifest, that right where I am, the power and the presence of God is, the power and presence of love is, and it's absolutely perfect just as it is. So I know that my body temple is the temple of the divine, and I know that my body temple, just as it is, right here and right now, is beautiful, it is perfect, it is magnificent, it is glorious. It is the divine expressing itself wholly and fully in absolute perfection and gloriousness, just as it is, right here, right now, in this moment. And as I know that this is true of me, I know that this is true of all of life, of all of creation. I know that this is true of everyone gathered here this day, either online or here in the sanctuary, that each one is the body beautiful. Each one is a beautiful, glorious, perfect expression of spirit, just as each one is right now. Physical ailment, physical malady, or no, each one is perfect here, now, and always, and in all ways. So I know that there's nothing to add, there's nothing to delete, there's nothing to change, because spirit is perfect just as it is. It always is. And I know that we co-create with spirit, that we are a living expression and embodiment of spirit itself. And so we bring ourselves into alignment with it, and we honor our body temples. We celebrate our body temples. We're not ashamed. We let go of any shame, any doubt, any fear, any negativity toward this physical body that we inhabit. We recognize that it is a part of who we are, but we ourselves are not completely contained by it, just as spirit is not contained by its creation. All of spirit is not contained by its creation. All of who each one of us is not completely contained by our physical body temple, but we are in alignment with it. We are an integrated system with it. And so we know that spirit maintains and sustains us. Spirit always maintains and sustains its beloved creation. So it is not I that breathe, it is the spirit that breathes me. It is not I that beats my own heart, it is the spirit that beats my heart. It is not I that is digesting, it is spirit that is digesting within me. That it is the spirit within who does all of these things, who's maintaining and sustaining me as my individualized consciousness and me as my physical body. And so this is all in alignment, in harmony, in divine right order, in divine perfection, just as it is. And so I give thanks for my body. I give thanks for this awareness. I give thanks for my being. And I give thanks for all of it. All of it. Right here, right now. Knowing that it functions beautifully, perfectly, and in the absolute harmony of the spheres. And so I release this word, knowing it is already done, knowing it is complete, knowing it is perfect, for it can be no other way. I simply let it be, and together we affirm, and so it is.
Love